Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian Fishing Podcast, episode 117. Dizzy, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. It's great to be here with you. 117, a good number to get us going. We've got a big episode today. We've got Matthew Moate from Matt's Fishing Escapes. I'm glad we're not using our real names. Rhodey, Matt.
It'd be confusing, Matt, and Matt, wouldn't it?
Matt, and Matt. It would be exceptionally confusing for all the listeners, so it's good that we've got Matt, Rhodey, and Diz.
Now, we are going to touch on, I think one of us might have mentioned in our little running document here about our little Port vs Geelong game, but do you think, with that in mind, will we just skip 119? It's a bad number, you know?
It's a horrible number.
You reckon we get rid of that one?
Good call. I think we should get rid of 119.
Maybe do 118 and 118A and then go straight to 120?
118A. It'll be the first time we've run with an episode that's got a letter behind it. But
after the weekend, which I'm sure one of us is going to mention as our lemon, but I've got a bit of PTSD, so I don't really want to talk about that.
Well,
number.
117 now, 118 would be roughly the week before the grand final.
Yep.
So 119 would
final.
be just after the grand final.
4 win a couple and then it all goes downhill. You never know.
Okay,
I'm going to lighten the mood, Diz, and I'm going to crack open a Cooper's Mild Ale.
Yes, good call, mate. And we should get stuck into the oranges and lemons. So I'll get us going with oranges.
Go for it, mate.
So
Did we officially talk about our guest, or did we just say his name?
No, I said we've got Matt's Fishing Escapes.
Sorry, I was thinking ahead.
Matthew Moate from Matt's Fishing Escapes. We're going to have a great chat with him later on today. But we will do oranges and lemons, like I said. So, Rhodey, we've got a almost 2 week old at home.
Oh, congratulations, mate. You never told me you were having another.
Yes, we've had another baby. All those sleepless nights have come flooding back, and you've got that to look forward to.
What do you mean sleepless nights, mate? Your current one has slept every night of his life.
But it has been a bit of a baby holiday.
Oh, mate. It's always a baby holiday.
It's been a bit of a baby holiday.
Maternity leave, paternity leave. It's a big old baby holiday.
A few weeks off, and it's been good, mate. I've been genuinely on the go slow. I said to myself I'd do a lot of jobs around the house in this period of time, but I've been lazy in that regard.
I seem to remember something about lunch at a winery and a lunch here, and it all sounded very hectic till you started telling me about the lunches.
Yes, yeah, we've had a couple of lunches. It's been good when our toddler's been off at childcare, Ned. It's been very blissful in the house, so we've made the most of it.
All right, you've got to introduce the new offspring to the podcast. Have you got a name?
Matilda, waltzing.
So, waltzing. Did it cross your mind that your name is Matt and its name is Matilda and they are almost the same and it could be Matt Jr.?
I don't know that there's many Matildas that get their nickname shortened to Matt.
But in theory, it is the same first three letters as your name.
It is, but it's very different for the last 5.
All right, anyway, we'll just leave it there.
It's controversial.
I'll get myself in trouble if I keep talking.
If Millie listens to this episode, you'll be in strife. All right, what's your orange?
Tizzy, I went fishing yesterday. You were a big old no-show, but it had been a little while between drinks for me and for you. And, it was good to get out on the water. We headed over to Yorks with Jack, my sister's partner, and his family. They've got they live at Yorktown over there, so we went over and did a pretty good little morning session on the whiting. We didn't nail them. We got a dozen.
What are you calling it? Dozen is a pass mark, aren't we? Giving it a pass mark, or what were you thinking?
Dozen whiting, 2 very small squid. The weather was good. They cooked us up bacon and eggs at the end. That probably dragged us a few more brownie points.
Dragged you made it worthwhile.
Into the positives. We're back at a reasonable time, so I wasn't in the bad books.
Didn't have to put the boat in the water. Didn't have to put the boat out of the water.
We actually did put the boat in and out and cleaned it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, impressive.
So, I would say 12 whiting is a pass mark. It's not setting the world on fire. There are a few good ones in the mix.
Yep.
But good to go fishing nonetheless. I honestly thought we were going to nail them.
Yeah.
I just thought it'd been windy for 2 weeks when it stirs up the bottom, the whiting fire, but it just never quite clicked. We probably got 6 or 7 on the first mark we went to pretty quickly. Like, probably got nothing for 10 or 15 minutes. Then 10 minutes, we probably caught 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then that was as hot as it ever got.
Yeah, right.
So I thought we were going to nail it, and we just didn't quite.
Yeah. The tides looked good too, actually.
Yeah, they weren't bad. There was a bit of water flow, so it was good. The conditions were pretty good.
All right, okay, I'll move on to the lemon. So what shall I do? I'll do, it's wind. Hoo-hoo.
My God, it blew, didn't it? We're going to touch on this again
Far
in the news, Tiz,
out.
but it's absolutely... Or should we just run with the wind now?
I think we should run with it now.
I reckon the Sea Link ferry was cancelled 5 days in a row.
Yeah, it's been blowy.
Every day it popped up on my Facebook feed saying Sea Link ferry 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is all closed. We'll review it in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I don't reckon many of those days it got better in the afternoon. So I reckon if you're on a holiday to KI, you got an extended break.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if you had if you had 10 days of beautiful weather and then you had it howling for 4 days on Kangaroo Island and you just happened to be stuck there for 2 weeks instead of 10 days.
Yeah, but we said, wouldn't it be great? But then I thought about it and I'm like, you probably have to pack up your boat, pack up the house, clean the Airbnb, ready to go the next morning before it gets
probably
cancelled.
Almost every day.
Don't you reckon? Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be like, 3 days in
true.
advance, you're stuck there for 4 more days.
Yeah, that's
You'd
true.
almost be packing up every day ready to leave. So I said the same, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh, maybe not.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, there was some bloody serious winds. We went out for lunch for Father's Day and we were inside and I was still hiding from gum trees.
Yeah.
And was
there's
it
been some
the
howlers.
Beachport Jetty had some pretty cool footage of the waves right over the top, and a few of the local beaches had some pretty gnarly conditions. So it's been windy, Diz.
Yes, it certainly has been. We're looking forward to hopefully some calmer spring weather. Rhodey, what else you got for us in the lemon department?
All right, Diz, we do sometimes jump into the realm of footy for a fishing podcast, and we shouldn't this week because Port were pathetic.
Port lost, moving on.
Yes.
That does oranges and lemons.
Let's keep moving. All right, I'm actually happy with that. Let's keep going. Diz, give us a merch update.
Right, merch update. Rhodey, you did a spectacular Instagram post about the T-shirts up for grabs. And, of course, as part of the winter photo comp, we are doing a T-shirt prize.
Yeah, Diz, we've got 4 T-shirts of different sizes. We are sort of down a little bit to the dregs. We don't have every size available, but I picked out 4 that we did have a bit of stock in, and we're giving them away, Diz. I think we said till next Sunday we're running that competition.
Yep.
We normally do some sort of a winter competition, whiting or something similar, but this year we're just going, give us your best photo you took this winter, something fishing related, and we'll pick our favourite and send you out a T-shirt. Let us know what size you want.
We absolutely love getting the photos coming through. We've had a few people engage with us around the merch. We love that, so keep up the great work in that department.
All right, Diz, we also need to do our August monthly photo comp thanks to Shimano.
Yes, of course we do, Rhodey. Great call. So Shimano, of course, has a beautiful little prize pack. We throw in a beanie, and you get that great Shimano backpack, stubby holder, bit of their kit. It's always good gear. And thanks again to Shimano for throwing it in for the monthly photo comp. Rhodey, tell the listeners out there who has won for their photo of a good size mully.
Dizzy Dylan Pierres,
Yes.
110 centimetres of Onka Paringa Mulloway Diz. He just moved over from New South Wales, I believe.
Okay.
He plays soccer for Adelaide United. So they've recruited him over here to kick a ball around, but I reckon he's probably better at fishing myself.
Yeah, well, what do you reckon, though? Just day off, go down the Onk?
Well, he's only been recruited this season, and the season hasn't started yet. So he's only been here for a bit of pre-season. It can't have been that long. So he's got here and got it done pretty quickly. So he
Good
must
on
be
him.
pretty switched onto it.
I was going to say, he's figured him out early. Anything over 100 centimetres in the mully department, in the Onk, he's a good fish.
So we're going to flick him out a bit of gear from us and Shimano to get out there and maybe get an upgrade.
Good on you, Dill. Now, of course, if you did sort of manage to twinge your shoulder or hurt your back while you're reeling in that 110 centimetre mully, of course, we know the head physio behind the Adelaide United Rhodey, don't we?
Yeah, Grazzi, he's a good man, isn't he?
So maybe Grazzi put
He's a
Dylan
Port Lincoln
onto
local,
us
caught some
to-
good snapper back in his day.
Maybe Grazzi put Dylan onto us.
Oh, I don't know, mate. He probably just knows a good podcast when he sees one.
Good call. All right, Rhodey, let's get into the news.
Rhodey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and will give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Talk to me, Rhodey. Catch and bag limits are to be reviewed. This is an ABC article that was been released. I believe it's recreational catch and bag limits are being currently reviewed. Talk to us.
Dizzy, this is true. So PIRSA is reviewing the allocations for the commercial sector and bag and boat limits for the recreational fishing for King George whiting, brim, garfish and sand crabs in the state waters. There isn't a strict timeline on this from what I'm reading here on the ABC website, Diz, but 4 of the popular fish species are included. Recfish SA have had their bit to say through Asher Desiree and has suggested that they put forward a further, that's a tongue twister, Diz, 6 species that wanted reviewed, but they were left out, which were the yellowtail kingfish, Tommy Ruff, mullet, golden perch, mulloway, and mud cockles or vongole.
Okay. Interesting. So we'll just watch, we'll sort of suck it and see. Is that what we're saying? We're just going to watch this space, see where this goes to. Recfish, the great advocate that they are, they'll be watching this closely and keeping us informed.
Yeah, so they've said they're concerned about overfishing of those species by the commercial sector. They've blamed a lack of recreational data on its decision not to review those species, is apparently why PIRSA has said they're not reviewing those extra species. Diz, this probably ties into our next one, Diz, so should we jump into that?
Yep, let's go for it, mate. This is the kingy one.
So the Recfish SA Facebook post about the kingfish has again gone, I would say probably semi-viral. That one kicked off a fair bit, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It didn't kick off as much as the first one.
No, but it's still an ongoing thing, Diz, and they've posted here on August 26 saying another wipeout of breeding kingfish in the Gulf of St Vincent by netting next week, while the public are ignored, demanding action since 2021, just in time for the regional tourism season. So, Diz, Recfish have been pushing pretty hard to say that kingfish should be a recreational only species in the state. It is a aquaculture species, kingfish is, and that was sort of what that was set up for initially, I believe. Mm-hmm. Is that fair? And they're saying here there's been the yellowtail commercial allocation of 0.12%.
Yeah, bullshit.
And they're believing that's been breached. So they're saying PIRSA calculate the recreational fishers are killing thousands upon thousands of kingfish yearly at an average size of a tiny 20 plus kilos each. So, they're claiming that thousands upon thousands of kingfish are killed, which and that assumption is based on the amount of fish that are caught commercially. If that is to make up only 0.12%, there must be thousands getting killed at that 20 kilo size, and we know that's not true.
No, it's definitely not.
Look, it's
Mate, if a serious fisher like you can't get out there and get one.
Oh, exactly right, Diz. There's not thousands upon thousands catching. So many people catch kingfish and release them.
Yeah.
Particularly at that 100 centimetre, 90 centimetre plus size.
It absolutely stinks, mate. It infuriates people when we know how much our industry is worth to the government, decision makers, the economy in this state. It absolutely stinks. This does.
And it mentions here a 500+% breach of allocation is what they're claiming.
Okay. Right.
So
we'll watch that one closely.
And it we haven't sort of got the same footage that we've had in the past. There was that netting footage that
you'd think the commercials would be keeping any footage pretty well under wraps.
But, if anyone out there's got some footage, flick it through because that'll really get the tensions going.
Yeah, you can do it anonymously.
We can just be your anonymous sort of distributor.
Of course.
We're like drug dealers. We're flicking out fishing photos, Diz. So if anyone's got a photo of some commercials,
if you want to pass us your phone in a brown paper bag, we'll take it. That's fine. All right, ready? Let's move right along. There's a boating survey out. This is the Marine Safety Department, or that's come out and been distributed at least by the Marine Safety SA email. There's been a boating survey. This goes to gather information about people using our waterways, a whole range of different things on life jackets, boating safety, etc., etc. So jump on there. I think this is going to help inform some decisions, Rhodey.
Yeah.
I don't think this is talking about any decisions that they've made, but it's a survey going out there to gather some information as far as I can understand.
So, yeah, it's consultation, that word always gets me, is now open to help finalise the development of the first ever South Australian recreational boating safety strategy. So you can have your say. I think it's on one of those government sort of my say type, whatever it's called. You click on the marinesafety.sa.gov.au, click on the complete the survey now. You need to complete the survey by Friday the 6th of September.
That's gone.
Has it?
Yeah.
We missed it. That was quick, Diz.
Yes, it was.
That went up very quickly. Anyone who completed the survey goes in the draw to win a life jacket, Diz.
Well done.
So it'll be interesting what the outcome of that is, because there's always a lot of talk about sort of boat licenses, life jackets and the likes.
Yep, there certainly is.
So hopefully you got in. That one came and went very quickly, Diz. So I'm sorry we didn't get that one out in time for you to jump on and do the survey. All right, Diz, what do we got next? The Australian Salmon Comp.
Yeah, so is it wrapping up? Is it wrapped up? Is it finished?
That's finished, Diz. I know this
finished.
one. It's a winter competition.
And this is the one that happens all across the Eyre Peninsula.
Yes, it is, Diz, and that has been run and won. I'm going to try and get that word out, and I almost didn't quite, but I got there in the end.
So we've been running a few results and some highlight catches over the course of this comp, because it does run for quite some time. So, Rhodey, it's about time that you let us in on the winners of the salmon comp, because it gets there's quite a few sort of collection zones for verifying those catches across the Eyre Peninsula, a number of roadhouses, petrol stations, tackle shops and the likes. So, Rhodey, fill the listeners in on the winner, mate.
Dizzy, the winning fish was Brian Baker from Noarlunga Downs. He took first place with a 4.994 kilo salmon caught at Talia Beach. He takes home the $2,000 prize. That's a massive effort, but would you be a little bit flat that you couldn't get the 6 grams extra to get 5 kilos?
Oh, you would be pretty flat.
Anyway,
Poor Noarlunga too. He's travelled a long way.
That's still a huge effort, Diz. Brian Hallett took out second place with a 4.366 kilo catch, while Andrew Tinnemans took third place, Diz. A special shout out also to El Mirabella from Bushfield, Victoria, who won the final mystery weight prize. His fish was 0.528 kilos, just shy of the mystery weight of 0.557 kilos. They want to thank all of their sponsors and supporters, Diz, for the Australian Salmon Fishing Championships based at Elliston. We look forward to that one again coming round in winter next year.
Yes, we certainly do. Good shout, Rhodey. Love that from you, mate. Right, let's talk about the record carp numbers. So there have been some recent information coming out about how they are just dominating some of our waterways, and our next news item is going to be about some people finding some entrepreneurial ways of using carp, Rhodey.
Yes, Diz, that we'll touch on that in a minute. But the Weekly Times has published an article here saying, so the University of Adelaide Lower Lakes Condition Report released this month states of all the alien fish species, common carp had a massively higher abundance in March 2023 compared to March 2022, and indeed any other year since condition monitoring began in 2007. So that is not positive. In March 2022, researchers picked up 179 carp at 19 sites, which were prior to the floods later that year. 12 months later, that number had exploded to 38,111 carp at 21 sites.
Whoa.
179 to 38,000. That is a massive jump.
Oh, geez, that's amazing. That really does go to show how efficient they are at breeding.
It's unbelievable. And sort of from what you hear, everyone's sort of reporting on the street that they have noticed a lot of carp after the floods.
Also, a lot of people talked about how good the natives were fishing this year, though.
Yeah, fair. But there does seem to be a massive biomass of carp around.
You sort of wonder whether that's both of them have made a bit of a bounce back, but now with the enormous uptick in carp numbers that they're just going to dominate the waterways and the natives will suffer.
And it's hard to know, Diz, because a lot of the natives are caught using, lures and things like that are never really going to catch you a carp or unlikely to catch you many carp.
Yeah.
So, does that tell us much? Maybe not.
Yes, good call. Good call, Ray.
But anyway, certainly based on this University of Adelaide study, there is a lot of carp, more than what there ever has been in the last sort of 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, nice. All right, Roddy, talk to us. Somebody's found a way to make some beauty products out of carp.
Diz, this is... Every now and then we have a weird and wacky one, and this is absolutely one of these. So this is Chef Duncan Welgemode.
Yes.
So he has spent years encouraging people to eat the carp. Oh. He is the owner of Adelaide restaurant Africola. I've never been there. I've heard a lot about it.
I've been to Africola.
Good feed?
Great feed. I certainly didn't have carp, and I don't reckon it was on the menu.
Anyway, Diz, he is suggesting that we need to extract the collagen from the carp.
Oh, grow up, Duncan.
So from topical creams to collagen gummies and collagen coffee, the availability of products containing this supplement has exploded in recent times. The collagen market is predicted to grow by US $5 to $8 billion.
Wow.
Within the next 5 years, according to Swinburne University. Diz? So that is his idea. He has suggested we utilise carp for the cosmetic and health industries. He does say it would require significant investment from government and private companies, but there were clear economic and environmental benefits. Diz?
Yeah, very interesting, mate. It might be one of those sort of like lunchroom ideas where you sort of say, let's just get a bit of collagen out of a carp, and when push comes to shove, it's just a shit idea, but you really never know. So good on you, Dunk, for throwing it out there, mate.
There's also a quote here from Katrina Armstrong. So her business, Thankfully Nourished, was launched in 2007 and sells collagen products derived from cows and fish. Okay. And she says, I think that people would be behind the idea because there's growing environmental awareness and wanting to source products that are sustainable. Currently, her marine collagen comes from wild-caught Australian snapper, but she did believe that carp could be a goer, Diz. So I don't know what you think about that. She's also said the lower-grade collagen might be better used in pet food products or in snack bars.
Oh, there you go. Look, all I'm going to say is when I've been carp fishing and I go home, Millie really doesn't sort of feel like she wants my carp hands rubbed all over, her face or anything like that. It certainly doesn't come across as a real beautifying product.
No, but this article here from Swinburne University does say that seafood processing generated up to 90,000 tonnes of waste, including heads, tails, guts, skin and scales. So we might as well use it for something. I personally am more up to the pet food part of it.
Yeah, just turn it into fertiliser, basically.
But anyway, Diz, we know there was a lot of effort put into killing the carp through that herpes stuff that went on sort of at the start of COVID. So that could sort of be a answer to some of the problems that came around with that.
Good call, Roddy. Nice little number to wrap up on. We did want to briefly talk about the bad weather. We covered that in the Lemons. Of course, there's been some nasty weather happening with KI ferries being cancelled, some stunning shots from down at Beachport. So we're hoping that that's the end of the bad weather and the good stuff starts to turn. Roddy, nice little news segment. Let's get on to Tackle Item of the Week.
Now it's time for Rhodey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
All right, Diz, like I said, I got into some whiting over the weekend. Now, we did something a bit different, or I did. The others were fishing pretty regulation, but I rigged up with a vexed bottom worm system, Diz. So it's a bottom Noster single rig blank.
Wow.
These come from WA Tackle West.
Wow.
They're getting a bit of traction. So basically, Diz, you use a bottom worm mutsu, it's called. I bought 3, a 30 gram, a 40 gram, and a 60 gram in different colours. So instead of using a sinker, you use a red or silver or a coloured jig head with a bit of sort of cord coming off it. The cord is covered in sort of a stretchy material that I suppose it would. Diz, you're looking at him here. That would you say it looks a bit like a bit of bloodworm, but it's a rubberized sort of product?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's kind of like an elongated soft plastic.
It is, Diz, and then you've got your sort of shiny bit that goes over the hook.
Yep.
And you can get them in either a circle hook or a regular hook, Diz.
Do you know what I mean? It actually almost looks like a wet fly.
The end? Yeah, I suppose I can see that. So anyway, Diz, so I bought 3 of these bottom worm mutsu. So they're the weight. They replace the tackle. You could put them onto a normal rig, but I've got the Vexed bottom Noster single rig blank. And I've been giving them a go, Diz. You then buy another. You could just use any normal hook for your top hook of your Paternoster rig, Diz. But I've also bought their Circle Assist hook. So that is just a piece of sort of the cord with the hook, with a little bit of sort of shiny, I don't even know what you call this, Diz. It's sort of shiny plastic, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just an attractant to the hook, really.
And it comes with the sort of rubberized plastic over the cord, and that can come in a wide range of colours, Diz. I got the sticky pippy colour and the bloodworm colour. You can also get like the live squid, the coral prawn glow. So this sort of rubber that covers the cord can be used to replicate what sort of bait or what the fish you are targeting might be eating, Diz. So I was using these for whiting. So you still do put a little bit of bait on the hook as well, Diz. So I use a little bit of squid. And it had pretty good results, Diz.
Yeah, you got a few?
Yeah, like I wouldn't have said everyone else caught nothing and I schooled them, but, I probably caught the most fish and that's probably expected. Is that fair? You know how those blokes fish.
Oh, horrible shout. So my question to you is this. Right, there's one that's off the bottom of the sinker, essentially.
Yeah, so basically your bottom hook is sitting like...
below the sinker.
Oh, 5 centimetres away from your sinker.
Did you catch the fish on that one?
I caught a couple on each, so it didn't really have a strong correlation every fish wasn't caught on the bottom hook.
Yeah.
But, you certainly, sometimes when you're fishing even with a normal sinker, let alone these beautiful coloured sort of attractive looking sinker jigs, even sometimes when you just bounce that sinker up, you think that the sinker bouncing a bit of sand up off the bottom can sometimes bring on a bite, Diz. And you think with this, this rubber, the jig head, the nice colours that sit right next to that little bit of squid you put on that circle hook, you think that has to attract the fish over.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's why I thought I thought your strike rate might have been
I reckon
90-10 on the bottom. It'd be good to get onto the bag of them.
Yeah, and do a real good study on it.
And do a real good study and see whether they come time. Because I actually quite often think whiting, you'll usually get them on the bottom hook.
Yeah, you certainly do.
And so sometimes you might, put squid on the top hook and cockles on the bottom or something. That's kind of our theory, or my theory at least, is then if they bite on the top hook and they get the squid, you know that they're really hungry for squid. Yep. So then you might change over and put squid on the bottom. But this one with the Vexed head, where it's the sinker as well, I think it does give you that extra element of sort of luring for the fish. So I like it, mate. I like it.
And I'm keen to experiment some more. Like I said, I've bought 3 different sizes for the sort of jig head on the bottom. And there's heaps of different options. You can get 2 hooks, you can get 3 hooks. I've gone 20-pound line. They do it in a heavier one. But there's heaps of options. I'm keen to explore how this goes over time. They seem to be pretty popular over in WA where they're produced, and they also do similar ones for targeting like your nanagai, your kingfish, your snapper.
Yeah.
But these have sort of turned those jig heads into something really quite small for your whiting and your smaller species.
Yeah, good shout. Love it, mate. Nice little tackle item of the week. Well played. Rightio, let's move along from that, Rhodey, and we've got the guest coming up.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Rhodey, we are very lucky to be joined by Matthew Moate, the man behind Matt's Fishing Escapes, an absolute guru on the YouTube and all social media platforms. Matt, it's great to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here, mate. Thanks for the invite.
Beautiful, Matt. Well, we're going to get into some other stuff, some mental health, some YouTube, some SA Angler. We've got plenty to talk about. But before we get into that, we're going to start off, as we do all our guests, with our 5 questions, starting with tell us about your best fish.
It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, my first trip over Coffin Bay, and doing a bit of research, it was pretty obvious that I needed to get out with Dan from GT Fishing Charters. Was able to sneak in with a group of other people, just myself going, and we got some tuna, but probably the best fish I got with him was roughly an 18 to 20 kilo Samson fish, which was just absolutely, draining on the arms and the heart. As people that watch my YouTube know, I'm not the fittest man on the team, so it was certainly a bit of a challenge.
Beautiful. That's a great operation he's got over there. That would have been great fun. Did you get it on bait or a jig, or how'd you go?
It was on one of his jigs. Can't remember what jig it was, but it was probably about 5-6 inches long and big bright green thing. And I was pretty impressed because we're using some really good gear on the boat. And at that point, I hadn't really started upgrading my fishing gear until I started my YouTube channel. So it was just impressive to be able to use the gear he's got. And I get over there and get out with him as often as I can, given I don't have a boat personally.
Oh, mate, that's awesome. We fished the Lincoln Comp in March and both managed to get onto a Samson fish ourselves, so we know how hard they pull. They're the absolute truck of the ocean, mate. That would have been a super catch, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It went on the socials everywhere.
Brilliant, mate. Love it. All right, Matt, now tell us your favourite thing about fishing.
As we'll probably talk a bit more about later, I guess, in the episode. But, for me, it's really about getting, and as I've heard from a number of your other guests, it's really just about getting out there in nature, clearing the head, getting away from the day-to-day grind, whether that's work, whether that's, what you got to get done around the house, etc. And just really just letting your mind just relax and breathe. That's the main thing. But I also love the challenge. And I'm one of those fishermen that, sees the pretty new lure or a new way of fishing that I hadn't tried before, and I really love just trying new things and challenging myself as well. So that'd be the 2 main aspects.
Beautiful. You're right, Matt. That's a very common sort of answer around here. I know you've written, which we'll touch on in a minute, your I think it's your debut SA Angler article all about mental health in fishing. And I suppose you've labelled it as your mental health. For others, it's just sort of clearing their mind or getting away from the day-to-day. But it's certainly, whatever you want to call it, it is a common answer, and we all love getting out there and just chilling out and being at one with nature, don't we?
Absolutely, and I think it's such an easy thing to do as well. Fishing doesn't have to be expensive or difficult to do. And yes, you can get a little bit of exercise, but it's not, like doing, people have suggested to me in the past park runs and things like that. Or just going for a walk, and it doesn't have the same level of, I guess, motivation for me, and so fishing really filled the gap nicely.
Don't worry, mate, I went for a run this morning and I would have much rather been fishing too.
Matt, tell us your first fishing memory or what got you into it.
Oh, I have to absolutely give all the credit to my dad. He got me out fishing. We lived down the south of Adelaide and Port Noarlunga Jetty, and in fact, I gave him a custom fishing rod in one of my recent videos. And he mentioned on there that he raised his kids on Port Noarlunga Jetty, and before the current lights that they've got there, we used to always fish the 6th light down on Port Noarlunga Jetty, and there was always a bag full of Tommies that you could get down there, and I still love catching them. It just brings me back to all those memories. Another trip with Dad was it's like one of those core childhood memories. Is we went down to Rapid Bay overnight, and it was sort of my first overnight fishing trip. And when I say Rapid Bay, I mean the real Rapid Bay, not the pathetic excuse of a jetty they've got there now. And it was a really blowy night, and the wind was about to, I could just see the bucket with the bait in it and all the esky were about to, the tackle box were about to go over the side. And I sort of had a split second to choose at the age of, I think I would have been about 9 or something. What do I grab? So I grabbed the tackle box, but we lost all our bait. So we're sitting on a jetty, nothing's open in in Rapid Bay, Second Valley. We couldn't find anything to buy any bait. It wasn't the days when lures were really big, I don't think. Yeah. And so we just tried to catch some squid all night, and then Dad was just filling me full of chocolate on the way home in the morning, trying to keep me awake. So that was a real cool memory. And I said to Dad, like, afterwards, did I make the right choice grabbing the tackle box? He goes, yeah, absolutely, son. So that was really, my first sort of memories. Dad was always there and keen to spend some time, go fishing, and we still try and do it as much as we can now.
Very good. And any particularly memorable catches off Port Noarlunga Jetty? It is a bit of a staple for the southern suburbs.
Oh, look, for us, it was really mainly just the Tommies, and I don't think Dad ever really liked the rougher weather for the salmon fishing. I always used to think, gee, I'd love to get down there and fish when the guys are chasing the salmon down there, but I think Dad might have been a bit more of a fair weather fisherman, he didn't want me being put into a dangerous situation or whatever. I do remember one night we were down at the Second Valley, and it was blowing, again, similar, it might have been the same trip, it was blowing a bit of a gale, and that was Second Valley before rails and everything, and Dad actually literally tied me to the jetty, so in case I fell in, he could pull me back in.
Yes, very good. We all have those memories growing up, and whether or not it was quite as windy as what you remember it, you've always sort of, as the years go on, you put a little bit of mayo on those stories, and
absolutely.
And as time goes on, it's gone from like a brisk breeze to a full blown hurricane, I can imagine.
I think about it now with my. I was down at Edithburgh last weekend. I stayed down at Port Vincent and took my 8-year-old daughter to Edithburgh, and I was thinking, gee, should I bring a rope along, because it was blowing a gale last weekend.
Very good. It was very windy last weekend, so I wouldn't have blamed you for bringing the rope. Now tell us, Matt, what is your favourite sort of fishing and why?
Oh, well, I was lucky enough to live in New Zealand for 3 years in the early noughties for work, and had a really great mate, Kelvin, over there, who I'd actually got a really good bonus for work that year, and I was thinking about buying a boat, and he said, oh, don't buy a boat. My wife just let me upgrade my 5-metre Ramco to, he got a 7.5-metre hardtop, and he said, so I need someone to help me go out and launch it. So we used to go out pretty much every weekend, every second weekend, just chasing kingies and snapper. And I when I moved back to Australia, I'm like, what am I going to do with all this fishing gear? It wasn't going to compare to what the experiences I had in New Zealand. But so I really do love it over there. Locally, I think in the last sort of 12 to 18 months since I've been, fishing a lot more, I really do love the King George whiting off the beach down at, like Moate and on the York Peninsula and stuff. King George whiting is just such a, sought after species. You generally have to have a boat to get them. So being able to find spots where you can catch them off the beach, on the weed line, etc., is pretty special. I was down at Port Victoria, probably last summer, and I was actually wading out to chest high on Moate, and I was telling the guys in the caravan park when I came back with sort of 8 or 9 of them, and they said, geez, mate, you're trying to be shark bait. He said, you get a bronzy out there, whatever. And I'm like, oh, you got to risk it for the biscuit. So, and I said, I looked up the stats. Not many fishermen gets taken by bronzies. They're pretty nice creatures, apparently.
Yeah, that's very good. Excellent, mate. Now, I hope that doesn't lead to a funny fishing story about how you got caught out in chest-deep water with a bronzy, but tell us a funny fishing story or one that got away, mate.
Oh, I think, I don't know, bring it back to Dan at GT Fishing Charters. I think the Samson Fish Show was on my second trip with him. My first trip with him, we went out there and we hooked on, and we hooked onto a tuna, and I grabbed the rod, and we're pulling it in and everything else, and I'm just the adrenaline is absolutely pumping, and I'm like, this is going to, at that point, that was my biggest fish, this tuna we're pulling in, and then Dan's, we get it in, and Dan's like, okay, grab it here and hold it here and move your fingers there and smile and take a photo and everything, and he said, you can smile, and I'm like, and I'm just sort of holding my mouth shut, and then he takes the photo, and then I hand him the fish, and then I just hurl over the side. And Dan is just like, Yeah, it can happen like that. You know, the adrenaline and everything just gets to you so much. And I was crook as a dog for the rest of the trip. So, yeah. So, but I got my tuna, and that was the main thing, and I got the photo. And but yeah, if you see the photo of me holding a tuna on Instagram or whatever, that's just before I heel up over the side.
Well, it sounds like you're about 2 seconds away from getting a real photo of a lifetime if you had got it right at the right moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any history of seasickness, or it was just that wave of emotion? Yeah.
Yeah, not really. As I said, I'd been out with my mate in New Zealand for 3 years fishing, and I'd never had it before, so I wasn't really expecting it. Maybe being, that was sort of, we used to go fishing in the Coromandel Valley, just, in Auckland, it's not real open sea there, I guess. You've got peninsulas either side, so maybe it was just from being out. The next few trips I've been on, no issues whatsoever. So, I don't know. Sometimes I think just depending the oscillation of the waves, it either works for you or it doesn't. Don't know.
Yeah. Good call. All right, Matt. Well, thank you very much for answering those questions. Some brilliant answers there, mate. Let's move on now. We're really keen to talk a bit about your YouTube page and your social media presence. You do use the name Matt's Fishing Escapes across all your platforms. We know that you're on just about everything there can be. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everything else. But if we just focus on YouTube, mate, 2.92 thousand subscribers and 136 videos to date. That's pretty bloody impressive, mate. Tell us about your socials.
Yeah, it really, as I mentioned in an article I recently wrote in SA Angler, it really became for me, YouTube was a way to create accountability for my mental health. So I realised that going fishing was a good thing for me mentally. It, as we said earlier, it helps you relax. It helps you basically take a moment to breathe and to process what's happening in your life at that point in time. And I knew that, every time I did it, it was a positive thing. But what was going to keep me going out there and doing it, besides just the positivity of the mindset, was, building an audience, building a community, and having that accountability. So I knew that, I didn't go, I'll go fishing next weekend. I'll go fishing next weekend. And then suddenly it's 3 months down the track and you haven't gone fishing and you're a crotchety old bastard. So if I'm allowed to say that.
Of course, man.
Go for it.
But I could have said much worse, I guess. But and so building that channel, and people have watched perhaps my first video. We took the family across to Wallaroo, and I said, I don't know what this is going to turn into, but I guess I really enjoyed it and started to get positive feedback from it as well. I didn't really bring the mental health thing into it until probably, 10, 15 videos in, etc. I think that's one of the things is especially as men, we feel a little bit, that talking about mental health can be a weakness, whereas I really see it as a strength. And then when I mentioned it the first time, I started getting all this positive feedback and people going, I'm glad you're talking about it. It's helped me talk about it, etc. I get private messages either through Instagram or, comments on the YouTube channel, etc. And I thought, this is, they always say on YouTube, you got to find your niche, but then you sort of almost got to find your sub niche, and like attracts like, and you get all these amazing people. And I've had people saying, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel because you've inspired me to do that. Or, I just took my daughter fishing down at Tennyson and we caught like a tiny salmon trout and that was it. But I showed people that I could go fishing and she could just have a swim around me while I was fishing. And they're like, I never even thought about doing that with my kid or whatever. Like, it's just giving people ideas. If I'm inspiring people, I'm getting out there, getting my mental health, fix that I need, then, it's not about, being a Sammy Hitsky or some, Nev's fishing or major sort of player like that. It really is a selfish thing that I'm doing it for me and my mental health. And if I'm helping people along the way, well, so be it.
Very good, Matt. It's a great message you've got there. Now, it's great to see you've grown. You've taken your socials to a big place, as Dizzy mentioned, and now you've pushed on to the next level and you've got your first article in the SA Angler magazine. Must be up to spring, are we? We're into spring now? Yes, we're just into spring, and that's just come out in the last few days. Is that right? Tell us about the article, how that came about, and what we can expect to read.
Well, I think you guys can take all the credit.
Oh, no, definitely not.
Yeah, mate. You had Brett Mensforth on the episode about 2 or 3 episodes ago, and I really enjoyed the episode. And I sort of reached out to him and had a bit of a chat on Instagram. And then a couple of weeks later, I said, actually, I've got an article that I wouldn't mind seeing if it's good enough to run. And he got me to send it off to Shane and whatever. And they jumped at it and said, look, we think this is a really important topic, and that we want to run it. Can you get us some photos, etc. and so forth. So it was really, again, through you guys putting out there the people that are making a difference and impacting and delivering value to the fishing community that made that article happen. Because I actually came from the wine industry, and I used to be in an industry position where I used to write a lot of articles for the wine industry, trade magazines and things, and then so it's not something new for me, but I was like, on my personal Facebook, I sort of said, I used to write articles for the wine industry, now I'm getting published in fishing magazines. So but I think it's about being able to understand, I guess, what's important, what resonates with people, and again, being able to try and allow people to have conversations around important topics that they might not be feeling comfortable to start. And mental health is certainly one of those articles or one of those topics that, I've always found that when I've talked to people about the struggles I've had with mental health, they'll often say, oh yeah, I have too. And, let's have a chat about it sort of thing. And I was like, I'd never seen you as a person that I would have thought had mental health issues, but it's often so much hid behind a mask or whatever you want to call it, that once you actually talk about it, people, will open up. And I had a subscriber, about 3-6 months ago, and I was going to do a bit of a meet-up, and I didn't get organised and everything with a group of people, but I said, I'll be at Ardrossan on this date, and he turned up, and I found out, through that conversation that his fiance had just left him. He was having to find a new place to live because they were living with her parents and stuff. And, he sent me a message the other day and said, look, it's been 12 months since that all happened, and you really helped me through all of that. So I think if, just being open and willing to have those conversations is really half the battle.
Yes, it's very good how a shared interest can, spark that conversation and make that connection, and one thing can lead to another, and it can really help someone out.
Oh, absolutely, and it's about it's not as we talk about in the article. It's not about sitting in a sterile psychologist room or something like that. You're just out there. You're both trying to catch some fish or whatever, and it's just an environment that you can talk about it or you don't talk about it, but it's there if you want to.
Very good. Well, everyone will have to get onto the SA Angler website and have a look at the spring edition to have a read. Now, I am glad we've put two great fishing people in South Australia in contact between the Mensforths and yourself. When you said you were sort of inspired by us, I thought you'd read some of our articles and you thought, if these two nuffies can put a paragraph together, that's where I thought you were going.
No, not at all. I think, Adelaide, South Australia, it is a small community in most industries or interest groups and stuff. And I really think the more that we can all work together and feed off of each other, the better. As I said, I'd previously ran wine industry associations and things like that, so I get the benefit of, the likes of Recfish and that, which I really like to support. I'm also a member of Ozfish as well. I see, being a fisherman isn't just about you going out there and catching fish, it's being part of a community, and you get out of a community what you put into it.
Great call, Matt. Really, that resonates with us a lot, and you are doing some fantastic things, mate. This article in the spring edition couldn't come at a better time. We've got Are You OK Day coming up. It is a very important thing that you write about in the article with regards to people taking, like you say, whatever it is, whether it's fishing or spending some time in whatever capacity is to focus on your own mental well-being is extremely important, and good on you for shining light on it, mate, and being courageous in that space to talk about it. That's absolutely brilliant of you. So we can't wait to share this article, of course, through the SA Angler Network. They'll share it very well. We'll do that on our socials once we release this episode. And, of course, I hope a lot of people hear it and can continue to share the love. We're really keen to hear what's next for you, mate. You mentioned before we started recording that you've got another video coming up. Can you give us a bit of a sneak peek or anything on the horizon for Matt's Fishing Escapes?
Well, my last video, I don't know if you saw that. I apparently stole Goody's little rock pool down on York Peninsula. She said, "Hey, that's my rock pool down there. You can't do a fishing video about that." But I just randomly found this. I was actually going out to fish. Is it Browns Beach down there or something? Anyway, and I was like, oh, it's closed. I didn't realize you couldn't get to it, and you got to go through private property or whatever. So I was just driving along, and I saw this sign that said Kangaroo Island Lookout, and I went, oh, shit, that looks pretty good. And I went down there, and I'd taken some photos, and yeah, Goody sent me a message back saying, hey, I hope you're not doing a video down there. That's my rock pool. So anyway, I had a great little session down there, and then this is another follow-up video down Southern Yorks off of Stenhouse Bay Jetty, catch a bit of a feed, try some, put a live bait out and things like that. And I've, as I mentioned to you before, jumping on the call tonight, I hadn't done any fishing this weekend, so I need to get out there and do some more. I'd love to, get out and do some more beach fishing as summer's coming up, maybe try for some mulloway down at Salt Creek, etc. There's a lot of stuff I still haven't done. I sort of thought, how much fishing can I do in South Australia as a land-based angler to keep it, exciting and relevant? But you start thinking about it, and there's just, haven't been over to, Whyalla to chase some kingfish off the land base there, and the jewfish down south. Haven't done anything down really Fleurieu much at all because I live up near the Barossa, so it's a long drive. There's just so much great fishing we do have here, and while we may feel like we don't have the best fishing in Australia, we certainly have some awesome opportunities.
Very good, Matt. You're certainly correct. There is a huge amount of opportunities both for land-based and boat fishing in South Australia, and great that you are doing your bit to showcase that and inspire people to get out there in the great outdoors and get away from it all and look after their mental health. So thanks a lot for what you're doing, Matt. It's been great to chat with you, and good to see you make your debut in SA Angler.
Thanks very much, guys. You have a good one.
Thanks, mate. You too. We'll speak to you soon.
Ciao.
All right, Diz, that was great to chat with Matthew Moate, the man behind Matt's Fishing Escapes. Facebook. Is it Facebook? Definitely Instagram, YouTube, all that.
Yeah, I think he's on all the socials. I mean, he's on TikTok. So if he's on TikTok and not Facebook, then something's going on there. But he does a great job. Some really good videos on there. They are quite long, so you need to sort of strap yourself in for some of them. But he does a great job and travels all corners of our wonderful state and does a excellent job covering his adventure with his GoPro and his YouTube clips. We love it.
And Diz, we probably should have included that in the news segment, Diz. There is a new SA Angler out, the spring edition. You get it on the website or the app. Obviously, it's all a digital copy online, and Matt features in that with a bit of an article about mental health, as we spoke about. But there's also plenty of great stuff to read about. I know there's a bit about the barrels, a bit about the kingfish, and plenty of gear they've tested out this month, I think, Diz, this edition.
Yeah, there's always good stuff in the SA Angler magazine. You can just rely on it being a great publication. So get on there, have a look. Rhodey, let's get into the fishing report.
Rhodey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
Rhodey, the kingfish at Port Augusta. I'm seeing some photos. Goodness me, who knows whether they're legit or not. But this bloke, well, I mean, they're obviously legit. Who knows whether they're this season or not is really what I should say. But this guy has got out there and he's got onto them on his jet ski, and it's a 24-kilo kingfish. And it is quite a spectacular photo.
Dizzy, it certainly is. It's a great fish. There's a few people making some funny comments about it. Might be Bryden, it might be here, it might be there. It's pretty obvious where he caught these fish, Diz.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
He didn't directly say it, I don't think.
In fact, in his comments, it says no prize for guessing where.
But he's certainly not hiding that they're over in Port Augusta and they're...
He's not hiding that they're near the power plant.
It's probably an early start to the season, Diz, I would have thought.
Yeah, you would have thought so. I reckon that'd get a few people bloody wet in their... sort of starting to drool a little bit about getting out there and getting onto some kingies. So who knows whether that was a straggler from early season or whether they're in good numbers. But a really solid effort by this person to get out there, get on the jet ski and get amongst them on what is a very solid fish.
I think there's been a few more photos popping up over this weekend as well. So I reckon
Makes you think they're legit?
I reckon they're going a little bit earlier this year, Diz, from what I hear. But if any species has a bit of secrecy around it, it's the kingfish.
Yeah, good call. All the more reason to get out there and have a crack though, I reckon.
What about the whiting, Diz, the winter whiting? They still going? Like I said, I thought we were going to nail them after the blow. We didn't quite. We got a dozen out around the Point Turton area. But, they should still be biting well, the winter whiting. Diz, have you heard much Metro?
Nah, I haven't heard a lot Metro. I've heard of some people go over and get some really good numbers off Port Vic.
Yeah, that always seems to fire, doesn't it? We
So
should
some
really
of those-
do that. We keep talking up Port Vic and we never do it.
Some of those classic locations, you do, Port Hughes, Port Vic, Marion Bay, some of those Edithburg, some of those classic areas you certainly hear about, but probably less from the metro areas I've been hearing, but that doesn't mean they're not out there.
As we touched about earlier on, it's legitimately blown the dog off the chain for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if anyone tunes out a fishing report, this weekend the weather was okay and late last week, but the week and a half before that, if anyone tells you they had an up-to-date fishing report, they're liars.
Yeah, good call.
Because it was windy as hell.
Maybe it blew too much for the whiting.
I think it might have blown them away.
Rhodey, let's talk about barrels, mate. They've been going off down at Port Lincoln. There's been plenty of photos coming in, plenty of photos off. I think I've seen quite a few photos from Portland as well.
Yeah, Diz, they have seemed to go again down there. Our friends Ash and Toomey from the Port Lincoln Tuna Comp, they got one the other week, Diz.
Yes.
They shared that on the page.
Great fishing. Good on them. Good on them.
So I think that sort of Port Lincoln, Coffin Bay region's gone pretty well. It's funny, Diz, I think Tyson put up a photo about gearing up for the second run or something. Did I see that?
Yeah.
I know down there at Port Mac in the past there has been a good run. I think we went a couple of years ago, like mid-September, and that was when they were running hot.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't bite when we were there because that's just how these things work.
Yeah.
But they do often seem to shut down for a month or so and then go hard again this time of year. So I reckon now the weather's cleared up a little bit in terms of the winds. I wouldn't be surprised if that Port Mac area fires again. But we'll keep our ears on the pulse, our fingers on the pulse for that one, Diz.
Yeah, good call, Rhodey, and we'll keep covering it in the fishing report, of course. I reckon for Tice from Want to Fish, if they don't start firing in this second run, he'll be really starting to think about honing in his summer season.
Yeah, well, his mate Jared from Southern Fishing Charters, he's started up again, and I saw KI Fishing Adventures has resumed, so they've had a bit of a break. They had the boat cleaned up and all that, like the charters normally tend to do during winter, and they're back up and firing. So plenty of the charters are back in operation from about now. Yeah,
good call. Love that, Rhodey. Excellent. All right, mate. Now I'm hearing a few whispers about some good crabs being caught from Stansbury.
Yeah, was that where Shane Mensforth posted?
I think so.
I think so. And Mark, so Jack's dad, Mark, he had a mate staying with him. I think he went by Shades or Shade as his nickname.
Yeah.
He got 20 crabs, he reckons, raking.
Wow. That's good numbers.
Not sure if it was with a mate or what the story was, but they he said they got plenty, a couple undersized, but they got plenty of keepers as well, Diz.
Good. Well played, Shade or Shades.
Yeah, I'm going to have to clear that up, that nickname. You know when you hear a nickname and you just don't quite get, no one spells it out for you, no one makes it really obvious.
Yeah.
And, if someone says Matt, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
But, it's
Shades
a bit harder with
Shade and Sheedies and, you just never know.
Yeah.
Good call. All right, Rhodey, nice little fishing report there for the listeners. Where can they find this episode, mate? It'll be coming out very soon.
Diz, Spotify, Apple Music, all of those places. Shoot, where's my English? Where you get your podcast. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you share your winter fishing photos so we can give someone out a couple of T-shirts.
Send your photos in. We love seeing them when we have a bit of a sort of dry patch, so to speak, of our own fishing. We love seeing what you guys are up to out there, getting amongst them. So keep sending them in. Well played, guys. Thanks for tuning in and speak to you soon.
See ya.
Rhodey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.